Alright, welcome and thanks for tuning in, everyone. I want to show you a little project I'm working on here. I had a friend bring me this cedar, these end-cut cedar chunks, and I'm supposed to turn 2 ink pens out of them. And it may be very difficult. Now, what I'm doing, it's all cracked up because of the inconsistent drying of this wood. It has caused it to crack, and you can see I've drizzled CA glue in all of these cracks, and I've just used these Irwin squeeze clamps to tighten down on them and try to get the cracks back together. When you do this, it's real easy to create a new crack when you're squeezing, when you're clamping down on it. So I've actually had to go back over this a few times and try to get this to as tight as I can so it doesn't blow up on the lathe. But this is just a method that you can use to take a piece of wood that's really useless for anything else, and I'm going to try to get 2 5-inch by 3/4 by 3/4 inch blanks out of this one piece. Okay, so now for this step of the process, we have to measure out the distance that we want the blanks to be and where to put our tubes in the blank after we cut them. These will be cut in half because these will both be slim line pins, 7mm, just standard slim lines. And I'll take a magic marker and I'll mark, and ideally you'll leave a 1/16 of an inch of room of longer of the blank on each end to allow for barrel trimming and truing the ends of the blank, and that'll be a step I show you down the road. The next step will be cutting these, getting the blanks to the size we want them, and then gluing the tubes in. Okay, now I have both blanks marked. This line's kind of hard to see, but that's where it'll be cut in half, and then I'll just cut the end of it off right there on that mark that you can. Alright, now that we have the blanks cut up into sections, it's time to take them to the lathe. This is just normal 5-minute epoxy sandpaper, and this is just coarse sandpaper, and this is actually not even necessary. I've made several pins where I didn't even scratch or corrugate the tubes everywhere. Well, there's that. Okay, so here we go. More resin. I can already tell it's starting to set up. Insert it, twist it. Good. I had to work fast, so I apologize if some of this wasn't in frame. You just want to make sure that all of them are sub-flush on each end. Let's let these set up, and then we'll take them to the barrel trimmer. Alright, so real quickly we're going to knock this out. We're going to true up 4 of these blanks. This process of barrel trimming just trues the end of the brass tube to the end of the blank to get ready to take it to the lathe. Just like that. And we'll do the rest of them and we'll take it to the lathe. Okay, so now that all the barrels are trimmed, it's time to take them to the lathe 2 at a time. Okay, I wanted to stop here and show you what I have. I'm getting tear out, and I expected it. This stuff is so incredibly dry, and I'm working with different sides of the grain. Some of it is end grain, and some of it is side grain or lengthwise grain. And my tool just came off of the grinder, so it's extremely sharp. But I can't take a very big pass, and I'm so close now. I'm almost to my bushings. I'm gonna have to slow down, and I'll speed the video way up for this. But I'm gonna have to just go take really light passes. I'm gonna touch my tool up on the grinder again, and just continue on. And hopefully, it's gonna be beautiful. But hopefully, I can get these turned without them exploding. I just don't know how this is gonna turn out, and I hope my CA glue joints hold. Okay, well, despite my best efforts, I had a big chunk that turned loose right here. And I think I could actually turn down, but this is getting, turn down past it, and I have one right here as well. But this is getting so brittle that my only choice now is to saturate this entire blank, the rest of the blank, with CA glue. Let this penetrate and cure out, and then hopefully I can go ahead and turn and make something with this. But I'm really starting to get worried at this point. Well, I don't know if you noticed that, but that absorbed, 3 or 4 drops of CA glue faster than I can get it run down the entire length of the blank. I'll continue until I can fully saturate it, and hopefully that'll hold it together. Okay, and like I said, these CA applications don't have anything to do with finishing. I'm just trying to hold these blanks together so I can finish out my turning. And based on how much was absorbed, I'm feeling pretty hopeful, slightly confident even, that I'll go ahead and be able to turn these down flat. This is just going to be a straight line, a straight slim line pin, so there's not going to be much swell, maybe a little bit, depending on how scared I get and how afraid I am that I'm not going to be able to turn this thing straight. But I'm going to go ahead and give this some time to set up real tight. It may already. I'm not going to activate it because I want it to go ahead and soak as much as possible. But we might be there. Give this a few minutes, then we'll turn some more. Okay, so with this coating of CA glue, I can now get a better look at where my flats are and my voids for filling. And it looks like I'll basically just be running. There's a bead here, there's a flat there. I'll probably be running a full bead there. And then where my main chip out was, I'll be putting some in there. It'll be a process of me building this back up and then using the tools and turning it back down round and not going through the CA glue, or at least not very much. And once I feel that the tool is no longer bouncing, then I set it on top of it, and then it'll be round at that point. But it's going to be a process, so let's begin. Okay, as you can see, I put in drops of CA glue, the medium, where I thought there were flats, and it looks like there may be a few more I'm going to have to hit. And I hit it with a little bit of accelerator, and I know that the CA glue on the inside of the glob is still probably mostly fluid. So I'm going to give this a good while, maybe 20-30 minutes, come back and check it, and then start turning. Okay, well, I'm confident I can go forward now. This is extremely hard, and I don't think there's any liquid inside the bubble. So what I'm going to do is very carefully turn this up high speed. I'm not going to worry about this side yet. I want to go ahead. This is starting to stress me out. I went and got a home brew, looked at the computer for a little bit, did a little video editing, came back, and I'm ready to see if I can turn these down, see if we can get close to round. I expect we'll have to do a couple more applications, but let's turn this and see what happens. Alright, well I was able to salvage one of these blanks. I'm going to stop worrying about this one and just chalk this up to a loss because it's just blowing up on me. It blew up on me in two places and I can't find this piece that I lost. I've looked everywhere. And I probably could have made it work, but I ended up with a little bit of brass showing right here. And this would have been okay had I kept trying to turn down past the blowouts, and there were so many blowouts, I kept having blow up after blow up, and so I ended up too narrow. This piece over here has turned out real nice. It has a little bit of a belly to it, so to speak. It's going to look really nice. And what I'll do, I'll just go ahead and turn this piece down. It's cedar. It's all going to be cedar. So I'll just have another blank, and I'll turn out, and we'll just put them together. It'll be kind of a contrast in grain. These were sister grains because it came off the same length of the blank, but it'll be okay, and I think it'll turn out all right. Alright, look at that. That is absolutely beautiful. And it has an iridescent quality. Like it changes as I roll it. I can see the light playing off of the resins and the fibers. I think it's really going to turn out nice. Not as wildly dramatic as the grain on what would have been this blank, but you know, it's just a lost cause at this point. I can't keep repairing because it's just going to end up looking worse and worse the more repairs I do. If it had been an acrylic blank, it would have been a different story, and I probably could have worked through it. But I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to go ahead and go through the progressions of the micro mesh and see how it looks. Real quickly, I'm going to part off my bushings because I don't want the when I go to take the barrels off that I find a surprise that the super glue has bonded them. It's just like that. All you have to do is cut through the glue. It's not a big deal. Just don't cut the barrel in the process. The blank right there, go through. That's all it takes. Okay, I'm going to save you from having to watch all of this. I'm going to quickly go through all the micro mesh pads, taking a look and when I go through the first two pads and making sure that I have leveled the CA glue and make sure there's no swirl marks. Pay particularly close attention to the ends. Okay, well, not every endeavor is a victory, but it's a partial victory. There is a silver lining. I lost the blank on your right. It's a wash. Okay, move on. But the one on the left turned out beautiful. And this video will end with me showing you this polished up. I'll take it off and I'll let you see it a little bit closer. But it's really amazing. It's a shame that this one didn't turn out as well. That's okay. There will be a part 2, and I'll go ahead and continue with the cedar blanks until I can create 2 pins. So you stay along with me for the ride, and it's going to be interesting. Right now I'm going to put a German polish on this that is designed for knives. It's called Semichrome, and I don't know how widely known it is, but it's a really fantastic stuff and it works well for acrylic. And anytime that you put a CA finish on this, you're basically polishing acrylic at that point. So let's go ahead and put this polish on, take this off, and get a better look at this after it comes off. Low speed to start out, and I'll get it a little bit higher to kind of burnish it in. If I can find the polish, there it is. Semichrome. This is the polish I used in a previous video. Semichrome polish. Works really well on knives and any kind of metal, and it also works well on this, surprisingly. So it doesn't take much. We'll just get it on, and anytime that you're using polish with a mild abrasive, make sure you don't carry your paper towel or whatever you're using to apply it into the bushing and then back to your surface. It won't make such a big a deal since we're using acrylic, but if you have a real light blonde wood or something special, you can carry a black surface back into your blank, and that's not great. So we'll go ahead and get this on here. I'm going to turn up the speed. Where's my clean paper towel? Here it is. Get this cap back up. I'm going to turn the speed and increase a little bit of heat and show you what it looks like when it comes off. I think I'm going to turn about right at 1,000 RPMs, 900-ish. Go ahead and get this going real well. And don't carry the paper towel back toward the blank. It's just good practice. See here, I got a little bit of picked up some polish from that bushing. So go to a clean side. Just create a little friction here. Carry it off to one side. Do the same right here. And carry it off. Oh wow, that's just amazing. Yeah, that turned out great. Okay, let's get it off here, if I can. Move the spacer bushings. These were parted off. We'll see. I actually didn't part these, so they may not come off. And I'm not sure if this is going to be in frame, so I'm going to try to turn this for you all without messing everything up. I think I will mess everything up. Let's just do it like this. I'll turn the GoPro. Okay. Apologize for the scratching. Alright, here we go. Okay, that came right off. Alright, let's take the other one off. Make sure my hands are clean. I don't want to scratch anything. Wow. And once again with the GoPro, I have no idea what you're seeing, if you're getting a good idea of the shine on this or not, but that is a fantastic finish. So I will just continue this process until I can get 3 more of these, and hopefully if I continue and not waste too many tubes. That's a tube lost. But really, you know, I wouldn't be so bummed at it. I noticed watching some of this video back, I sounded more bummed as the time went on, and it was because it's for a gift, and it's I hate it. If it had been for, you know, for me, I wouldn't care so much. But I really had high hopes for these two. But going right forward, 3 more, just like this. All right, so this is me all frazzled after a nightmarish pin turning. Make sure you wear your safety apparel anytime that you do this activating in the CA glue. This stuff's really bad. It'll burn your lungs, and if you just take a simple breath over the top of it after you've had a few applications of CA glue and then spray it, it's make sure you're careful. Keep your carbon filters up to date and particulate filters. Just because you have a carbon filter doesn't mean you're protected from the dust. So make sure you stay protected. I'm going to bed. Thanks for watching.